Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Dungeons and Dopamine.
Hi, welcome to episode 30 of Dungeons and Dopamine. I'm Bre.
I'm Jess. That's
it. And since this is 30, we just decided that was good enough. This is
done.
all you get.
Done.
Just kidding. We say that every
I
week.
do think we break up and fight and every episode.
Mm-hmm. Which is a great way to start this episode because since this will premiere on, the 30th? I don't know.
The 28th.
The 28th, and approaching the end of the year, we are going to make this a recap episode.
Recap.
Where basically we just laugh about how ridiculous we've been the last 29 episodes.
I also just headbutted my microphone. I meant to do it gently so you couldn't hear, but you definitely heard it. I can tell by the sound spike on the screen. Jessica
is having so much technical trouble with her microphone and her microphone arm. Sometimes it just falls at her. Luckily, always right after we finish recording.
Yeah, there was one day where we recorded 3 episodes in the same day. Here's a little inside look. And my mic popped off after every one of them.
And at the end, it just fell on the floor. It's just done.
It was like, you guys are done. Shut up. I'm so sick of listening to you laugh.
I cannot anymore. So that is a good point. If you didn't know, you probably know, but we do try to record multiple episodes at a time. Mostly because we now know that I am susceptible to all the plagues.
Every single one of them.
May have to cancel recording for 4 weeks in a row. So we try to record 4 episodes at a time so Jessica never runs out.
Somehow we've done it.
I'm very proud of us for that.
Yes.
I did not see that coming, to be honest.
Well, we're past the half of a year point as far as number of episodes go.
Yeah. Not quite a bit.
No, but still, 30? No, 26 would have been it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are 4 past that. We can math the mathiest.
We're the mathiest maths.
I do believe there was one episode, and I think that some of it might have gotten cut out, where you kept trying to do math and having to, pause for a really long time.
It's probably real estate based too, so I sounded real dumb. I never claimed to be good at math until just now, before we talked about
something
this.
Really weird. This doesn't have to do with math. I, for some reason, feel like you know a lot about vacuum cleaners.
I do.
I know, that's the thing.
Do you want to know why?
Yes.
I know.
Please.
I spent 2 days as a rainbow vacuum salesman.
Okay.
And the first 2 days of being a rainbow vacuum salesman is learning how awful every other vacuum is, so that when you go into people's house, you can be like, gross. You use a vacuum?
How dare
I have
you.
this air purifier that sucks stuff off the carpet into water. It's way more disgusting.
I have no idea. I guess I had that information tucked away from those 2 days of your life. And for some reason, I'm thinking we need a new vacuum soon. And I was like, I should talk to Bre. And then I was like, why would I talk to her about this?
And it did not faze me one bit when you were like, would you buy a Shark or a Dyson? Shark. 100%, by the way.
Buy the Shark. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, why did I know you would know that? It's distressing.
I'm going to do an episode of vacuums now.
Please do. So actually, though, speaking of that, Dogman of Michigan. You know who loves to vacuum?
The Dogman of Michigan.
Is there any episode that you are going to do or that I am going to do that you are really looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to you doing Stonehenge now.
I better write that down so that I don't forget.
Because natural wonders of the world, or The Stonehenge,
yeah.
the Newgrange, like the stuff I just talked about with the solstice.
The old libraries that have been destroyed. There's a lot. And actually, something really cool that my mom sent me, they found Noah's Ark.
What?
It's so cool.
What?
They found where, as the water was receding, he was dropping the weights off the boat. It's incredible.
That's amazing.
So I've been debating that one as well. It's just a lot. What about that you're going to talk about? Anything coming up that you're really excited to talk about?
Not that I can think of off the top of my brain.
I am really excited. I mentioned something to you because you were really stressed out, and I was like, we could use this.
Let us use this to our advantage.
You were helping pack up the house that your mom was leaving. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if we've talked about whose or what's. I'm sure we have. It was Nana's house.
Yeah.
And you were packing up and you were collecting some of the cuttings and things like that. So you'd have some of those plants that they had planted. And I suggested we do an episode, and by we, I totally mean you. Mine'll be like murders. How to hide a body before you sell a house or something.
Ooh, let me write that one down.
But an episode of like suggesting how to do that, suggesting when, because I know that there are some laws real estate wise that you can't move or change things until, or once it's listed. Yeah.
You have to be you can't just take out the tree in the front yard once it's listed, because if the buyer bought it because of that tree, you're screwed.
Yep. So I'm really excited about that. If you do get around to that.
Yes. That'll have to be a later one because the cutting experiment is still in my basement.
In process.
Yes. When we moved everything out, it was already getting cold out, and my mom didn't think they would survive really well if left out for the winter without being planted. So I am keeping so many plants alive right now, you guys.
See, well, then you can tell us too, like what worked and what maybe. Hopefully, you don't have a whole lot of what didn't work, but
here's my graveyard of dead plants.
This is what you shouldn't do.
Yes.
So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm the most morbid person alive when it comes to this podcast. I'm really looking forward to my next series, which is gonna be disappearances.
Ooh.
Right? Like, just
those are good.
That's what I think.
And they can be good or bad.
Right. And I'm not going to do children. I don't think I could ever do children.
I appreciate that.
I don't think I could do children, disappearances, murders.
Nope.
I just, even talking about it right now makes me sick to my stomach.
Yep.
Or I'm getting the plague.
Who knows?
You're here.
It's going around.
It's going around you like a cloud.
Right.
What is that Peanuts character?
Pigpen. I'm the Pigpen.
The plague pen.
Plague pen.
I have to request that you leave my house immediately.
Get out.
What is something about podcasting that surprised you?
Actually, how easy it is.
Yeah?
I'm not like, it's not easy, obviously, getting here and setting up, and I know you do a lot more than I do. But I thought I would hate it. I thought I would hate researching every week and being here and then having to listen to myself and talk about myself. I did not think I was cut out for it. But
I'm embarrassed at how much I laugh after. Like, I'll be listening to the edited episode and I'm still laughing at us.
Driving down the road laughing. Something that has also surprised me is how awful my memory is. Because there are every episode when I'm listening to it, I'm like, what? When did we talk about this? Like, I remember what topics we covered.
Right.
But even, I just happened to listen to the hero animals.
Yes, okay, yep.
And you had like 4 in that one episode. And by the last one, I was like, a beluga? I don't remember talking about a beluga.
And you sing.
And then I'm there on the radio singing, Baby Beluga. I'm like, I do remember doing that.
The thing that surprised me about this is how much work it is. And that sounds kind of dumb because, duh. But I never thought about how much time and effort you put into, like, the editing.
The back end of
the researching, the showing up.
Mm-hmm.
I know that for a while we kind of like teeter-tottered back and forth where we were gonna record and stuff like that, and then we kind of landed up here in the bathroom. And it's worked out a lot nicer because it cuts down on any travel time for me, because I'm putting all that time into editing and stuff.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, this is working. And then our shorter formats for second edition.
Yeah, I
has
do
been
enjoy those.
nice.
I think that was a very good decision on our part.
I think
because
so.
there were, especially my real estate topics, that even I got a little bored listening to. Because like my first time home buyer one is great if you're a first time home buyer. But if you've been doing real estate for, I don't know, 7-8 years.
Or if you have absolutely no intention of moving.
Yeah, then it's not. I mean, you're basically just listening to see if Jessica and I laugh for 5 minutes.
Which I'm sure we did.
Right.
Yes, and for me, it's easy to cut down because none of these have a personal connection.
That's true.
The Candyman, you know, hurting his child, which I guess was a child murder.
Yeah,
Why did I
that
think
one-
that one? I think it's
that
because
one
we
was
didn't
hard.
talk about the children that match.
Yeah.
It was more about him and how
And it was like
freaking weird he
the
was.
overarching topic instead
Yeah.
of, you weren't like, I'm going to talk about kid murderers for 3 weeks.
But I can't connect that to my life. I could be like, yeah, I've trick-or-treated. I've had pixie sticks. But that's about where it ends.
I don't want to poison my child.
Yeah. I've never even played the Candyman game where you're like, whatever, Bloody Mary, the Candyman guy or whatever.
Yeah. It's all the same. I have played Bloody Mary.
I have never.
Really?
Yeah.
I never forced you into it.
You never did.
Jody never forced you into it because actually it was always Jody.
You know, I forced Jody into playing that weird Tabasco sauce game that we played as
That was weird.
We played that game for what seemed like hours.
Uh-huh. And then we had to stop to call the radio station to request songs.
I love that you remember that.
How do I remember that? But I don't remember
Not
that we talked about
singing
belugas.
Baby Beluga on our podcast.
Right.
You know what also surprised me?
The dog man of Michigan.
Absolutely. How epic we are at transitioning.
Yeah. Totally easy. I guess that is something that I find much harder than I thought I would, is the
Yeah.
opening, the transitions, and the closing.
The closings were our absolute most difficult piece until we just created like a script to end with that we have to search for every time. Every
Yep.
single time. There is so much extra content of us talking while we're looking for
Hold on, I know I wrote this down somewhere.
I think there's even extra content of you saying, you know what, sometime I'm going to just write this on a big poster board and we're going to hang it up.
So we can stop looking for it every time.
you'd think
And
at
we've
this
never
point
done that.
We'd have it memorized,
No.
but we don't.
I mean, obviously, I can't memorize anything.
So, you know, the Dogman of Michigan surprises me, but something that surprises me more is how much we predict the future.
Yes. How many times has it been now?
Okay, we added one today. So we have predicted at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things through our podcast.
That's incredible.
It's so
I didn't
weird.
even know that I was a psychic before.
Right. And none of it's been anything exciting. Well, one of them is kind of exciting for me, but only me.
Jessica's only predicting stuff about her own life now. She's like, I predict I win the lottery.
Exactly. So I think the craziest one is the Titanic.
Yeah.
So
that was
episode 1. One of my favorite episode topics, at least. I feel like we were a little less energetic than we should have been. I was listening to it the other day and I was like, man, we're like,
why were we so boring?
yeah, like we're just, I think it was because we were so nervous or like trying to be
Professional.
podcasty. Yeah. And now we use words like podcasty.
Mm-hmm. And epiphalous. Let's come back around to all the words we've made up.
Absolutely. So the Titanic, I talked about how it may not have sank at all, and it was the Olympic. Probably one of the most believable conspiracy theories I have ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
And then a month, 2 months,
If that,
yeah,
weeks later.
that sub went down to go see the Titanic and imploded.
Yep.
leave the Titanic alone, guys. They
No
don't want
one
anybody to
wants
find out
you-
that it's the Olympic.
Yes, exactly. No one wants this
That was so
mystery
weird.
solved. What was the next one?
The other weird one, they're all weird.
Well, yeah,
Let's
we're
be
weird.
honest. We're weird. The walled city of Kowloon. I talked about
Oh,
that. old
yeah.
abandoned one city block that housed like 300,000 people or something. So we talked about that in that episode. And as Ryan and I were editing that episode, because I edit for content because only you and I can do that.
Right.
And then Ryan edits for music and sound. And all of a sudden, Jacksepticeye, Sean, the very, very popular YouTuber, I'm feeling most people at least have heard his name.
Except for me.
I'm very disappointed in you. I think you'd love him.
Well-
He's also Irish,
Oh.
and he has a brand of coffee. And he's lovely. He's very small.
So Zach will like him too.
I feel like you also might fall in love with him.
On it.
So I'm going.
This
He
rest,
does
the
yell a
rest of
lot.
this
Watch the
episode
stuff
will
he does
just
now.
be just.
We did.
My name is Bre.
I'm sorry, I'm already taken by Pedro Pascal, which we're also working on predicting. Anyways,
he is cute.
so Jack, or Sean, his real name is Sean. His his screen name, gamer tag, whatever you want to call it, is Jacksepticeye, and he debuted a game that takes place in the walled city of Kowloon as we released that episode. So freaking weird.
That one's my favorite.
It's so wild.
Mm-hmm.
What an obscure, I'd never heard of it before until I started researching.
And then it happened to pop up by one of your favorite YouTubers.
Yes, we are very
The week
dedicatedly
that it
watching
was
him.
premiering.
Our podcast actually donated to, he does something called Thankmas. We donated, it's because it's between Christmas and Thanksgiving. I said Thankmas. It's for the whole month of December, but Sean usually kicks it off by doing a really big event.
Mm-hmm.
He raised $6 million this year.
What?
For, I believe it's called World Kitchen, or I might be wrong about exactly what it's called, but it was the World Kitchen, and
Something.
they go places where there have been disasters and feed people who need it the most. They give them meals. And it was
That's amazing.
hundreds of thousands of meals with that million.
Yeah. That's a lot
So-
of money.
We donated to that, and just to all tie in with that is just wild.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was crazy. I couldn't believe that one. It was such an obscure thing. Like
Right.
the Titanic, everyone knows. The Titanic, everyone's familiar with.
That one you can be like, oh, weird coincidence. But this one, it's like, really?
Yeah.
Really, universe?
And the video game just happens to release the week. It was weird.
Mhm.
The other really weird thing is a week or two after you did your organ donation, it was between organ donation and blood donation, John Oliver did a show about organ and blood donation.
Which,
What?
and these are topics I have been talking about
Yes.
since we started.
Yes.
Like, they've always been on my list. I was just waiting for the right amount of dopamine to hit.
If you had done it a month sooner, we wouldn't have tied them together.
Right.
But it happened in between releasing those.
And didn't Ryan see the video
yeah,
like,
he watches
as he
John
was
Oliver.
editing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super weird. 2 weeks ago, I think. Oh, that's weird. Jacksepticeye just uploaded a video to YouTube right now.
It's us.
Super weird.
He's the window creeper
he's
from
Window
the
paper
folklore.
Jack, Sean, whatever.
whoever you are.
Whoever you
He has
want us
green
to
hair
call
in
you.
one of these pictures, and that makes me like him even more.
He used to shout a lot, so be careful if you go into his old days.
Because
you can-
shouting and me.
Yeah. He's still kind of a loud dude. But I would definitely start with more recent stuff if you decide to watch him.
He reminds me of someone I know, and I can't think of who it is.
I like to hear him talk because he's Irish.
But when I figure it out, I'll yell at his name, I'm sure.
Wonderful. A few weeks ago in one of our episodes, when we were talking about moving to New Zealand, we talked about how we could run the Viva podcast. We'll do a Viva podcast.
They need one of those.
Yeah, they do. So they started one called We Were Told We Should Do a Podcast.
Nuh-uh.
1,000,000,000% true. And it premiered like the week after, or no, the week before we talked about.
This just goes back to reinforce my feeling from childhood that we are actually in the Truman Show.
Yep.
It's based on us. It's always been based on us in my brain, by the way. The Truman Show was never about me. It was always about us.
Oh, yeah, obviously. No one would make a show about just one of us.
No. We're only good together.
Exactly.
We're only interesting when we're together.
So the universe kept bringing us back together when we hit points in our lives where we would like spread out and go different ways.
And then they were like, hey, you're both going to have a baby the same year.
Ryan better start sharing some of this money from this show. It's really absurd. Anyway. Ugh. The next, I think our last weird thing that we're claiming this.
Yep.
So you talked about blood donation.
Specifically,
last week?
Yeah.
No, it was before the bonus episode.
Right. Specifically with quotes from Beth.
Yes.
Who is our friend that works for the Red Cross.
And, sorry, my mind just went completely blank because I was gonna say something.
The best part is
to someone.
I saw it in your face. You were like, yeah, and then blank.
I was gonna shout out to somebody and I don't know if it was gonna be yelling at them or talking to them.
Was it Beth?
It was not. I love you, Beth. You're the best.
She doesn't want to yell at you.
No, never.
Who are we yelling at?
The dog man of Michigan.
He deserves it. No, he doesn't. He's great at transitions.
He's amazing. He's the star of our show.
Can't wait.
Oh, Joe. I wasn't going to yell at Joe.
Okay.
So we talked about how Joe is actually the producer of our Truman Show. He has not yet denied it.
Solved.
I mean, he hasn't confirmed it, but more importantly, he hasn't denied it.
Mm-hmm.
He now has a show sticker, and
little do we know, he probably has a bunch of merch that we
Right.
don't even know about.
We're on to you, Joe.
We know it's you.
Please don't stop being my ship shopper. You're my favorite.
Can't get groceries from anyone else.
So, okay, I'm sorry. Back to blood donation.
Yes.
Back to blood.
Back to bags of blood. So today, which happens, we're recording on the 13th, just so you guys are aware. Beth shared with us that the Red Cross, remember how I talked about how they incentivize people to give blood now because we really need it. Hold on, my Facebook is doing something weird. It won't bring up Dungeons and Dopamine.
Well, while you figure that out, I'll mention that I had once talked about, like this is the shock, I had once talked about Bigfoot, and now I post about Bigfoot constantly. But
Beth helped post on our page today that if you donate blood between December 18th and January 5th through the Red Cross, you get a free long sleeve t-shirt featuring a Yeti.
Which is another name for Bigfoot.
Sasquatch or Bigfoot or whatever you want to call him. Specifically, if you go to the blood drive at the community house near Cinema Carousel on December 22nd, you can also have coffee from Aldea Coffee. Side note, if you invited me to a Christmas luau on December 23rd, this episode will be too late, but
sure will.
Sorry I missed it because I didn't know what it was for.
Or had a great time if you got a hold of me before it.
Right. I have a event in my calendar that and it's a family event. I shared it with my husband's calendar to go to a Christmas luau on December 23rd from 5:30 to 8:30. Neither of us have any idea what it is or who invited us or where it came from. I have checked Facebook, I've checked my messages, I've checked text messages, emails,
You
anything
messaged
I
me
could
about
think
it.
of. I messaged Jessica, I messaged Amber.
Have I mentioned this to you?
I'm just gonna post it on Facebook. If someone
Tell me
invited
what
me.
this is. So we predicted a lot of things,
Mhm.
and I hope we continue to predict a lot of things. I think it's super crazy that there is a Sasquatch shirt with like a donate
For
blood
blood
thing.
donation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would they
So
choose
weird.
the Sasquatch?
Yeah.
If not because of us.
Right. Same. Why would they make a video game about the city of Kowloon if they didn't know we were going to talk about it?
Exactly. Pretty soon they're going to
Because it's
release
super creepy.
Baby Beluga all over again.
Yes. One can hope. Or like a book about miraculous animals. I'm sure they have dozens of those already.
I'm sure I've read 3 of them. The
And
first
cried.
one was probably like a chicken soup for
Absolutely.
the animal soul.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about those books until recently.
I've remembered them. I just don't want anything to do with them.
You don't want to spend all evening crying? I don't
And
understand.
Give myself a headache weeping. So we've talked about, I've talked about what we've predicted.
Mm-hmm.
I have. You haven't.
You're not here.
Stuff that we're looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
What surprises us about podcasting? What would you change about some of our early episodes?
I would definitely make them shorter.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
That's all I got.
All right.
What about you?
I think that I would just, I agree with shorter. Some of them. I think some of them are fine. But I do agree that some of them go on quite a lot. I think our very early episodes, we were so anxious and trying to be what we thought podcasters should be, that even though the content is great, we missed the mark a little bit on like being us.
Yeah, it's
and
not as natural.
Yeah, and the energy levels, which I didn't notice actually until just the last time I listened, because I go through them frequently to try and catch content that we need to remember and go back to and stuff like that. But that's kind of what I would have changed. And then I felt like, personally, and maybe no one else feels like this, but when I went over narcissists, sociopaths, and Munchausen's, felt like I lost my like enthusiasm for the topics.
Yeah, I do remember that. Those were hard.
Yes.
They first, probably because we know people that suffer from some of them.
Yeah.
And so it does make it more personal.
Yes.
And then brings it down. But it's, I mean, how do you talk about mental issues without being like overly rude and not just like reading diagnosis stuff?
right, yeah. It just, and I feel like I was really excited to learn about them, and then I sort of was like,
These
maybe-
sound awful.
maybe I was incredibly busy at the time or something,
That
and
could
it
be.
helped me lose my spark. I mean, when I listen back, they sound okay, but I personally feel like I lost my umph on them. So that was,
There were, I have been surprised on, so along the same lines, topics that don't translate well to podcasting. Because I have a few things that I started writing that I just can't figure out how to make them podcast worthy. Like one is, someday I'd really like to do one about brain chemicals. So I would love to do one about dopamine. Oxytocin, serotonin, but that, I feel like that would be very similar
very
to
scientific
yeah.
and very hard to make it interesting.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, dopamine. Okay, dopamine, I could probably do a lot of fun stuff with, but like oxytocin, that's your love hormone, causes contractions, like.
You're gonna have to like tell stories in
Right.
between them or something like, oh, and
the
then I
internet
know
doesn't
this
have
story.
cute, like, I love oxytocin stories. It's just not there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's just some that maybe that's what it is. There's topics that you end up going, wow, I missed the mark on that, or I just lost my passion for that,
Or things that I'm passionate about that I get halfway through and then realize that probably nobody else is passionate about them. Or if they are, it's going to be a select few people.
Speaking of that, when you told me you were going to do local government, I was literally like, oh my gosh, no. You
That
can't
sounds
do
awful.
that. That's going to be the worst episode. Like, what? And then I found it fascinating, which shocked me.
Because you expect, now I'm opening the board meeting.
Yes,
It
exactly.
is 6:00. We will now say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, and like, well, I go into the office and I sit on my computer and I answer a lot of emails about plants and road conditions and answer phone calls, and And it was actually really eye-opening, and I found it really interesting.
Township government still astounds me every day. Every single day.
That one totally threw me off. There is something I have been trying to do a topic on, and it is insanely difficult because of how much information, because it's still in the middle of it right now, and it is a haunted house, and I'm mentally putting quotes around that because it isn't a haunted house. And that's what makes it so hard. So it's this, and I can't remember the name of it. It's in my notes somewhere, but I can't find it, of course, because I'm trying to talk about it. It's a haunted house that this guy created, except essentially you go into it and you just get the crap beat out of you and stuff. And
oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yep. So
you probably told me about
it. Might be. And I've seen it on the news and stuff like that, and they really sensationalize it. I've watched a lot of videos and stuff about it. McCamey Manor. Manor. That's what it's called. And I've really wanted to talk about it as just what it is and the guy that runs it, and it's wild.
Why it exists.
Yes.
And how it's
I've watched
existing.
a video of a girl who was one of the very first people who went through it. And I watched her talk for like 2.5 hours about the experience, and then I started watching the video itself. It's very draining to watch. It's gross. And nowadays, apparently there was a reward if you can make it all the way to the end. You'll get like $100,000, and yet no one's ever made it. No one's ever gotten the money, and so
is he just a scammer?
Yes. And there's these guys who I found on TikTok, actually, to begin with, and started watching them on YouTube, and they're trying to debunk it. They think it is a scam, and that all he does is like, abuse you until you give up. And they don't even think he has the haunted house anymore, which was just like his garage, and you walked through it.
This guy woke up one day, and he was like, I'm just unhappy. What should I do with my life? What am I passionate about? Beating people up. How do I make money on this?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put people in a freezer and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's just like, he just finds people off the street, and he's like, I'm gonna have you pay me to torture you. But if you survive all the way through, I have a reward.
And in the contracty thing that you have to sign, apparently it says that you might be like covered in bugs or rats or stuff like that. And these guys are like, please, I want to see them. I want you to, cover me in bugs or where are the rats? And he'll never produce them. And he basically brings you to his front yard and makes you like crawl around with heavy stuff and paint on you and stuff. It's incredibly weird.
He just has like an abuse fetish.
I think so.
And people are dumb.
And the people who watch these videos and support this guy are wildly supportive. And the people who aren't are... It's so polarizing. There's no one in the gray zone in the middle.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm not finding a gray zone. And I am the queen of gray zones.
So, that is something that I've wanted to talk about, but I can't because it is so overwhelming and it is so ongoing.
Right. Yeah, it's not like, and then it all ended this way.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's like, we'll revisit this in 6 months.
Yes. And these guys that went in and they recorded content and stuff, they were being sued by them.
So weird.
It's insane. So that's something that I'd like to talk about, but it's so convoluted.
So some other things I started writing and haven't finished. I have almost a whole episode written about the show Ted Lasso. Except now that I'm looking at it, it's so much that it would probably be multiple episodes at this point, now that we're doing the smaller format or the shorter format. And really what it is I just obviously want to talk about things I'm passionate about.
Right.
And sometimes that's bugs. And sometimes that's TV shows and books. But I have not figured out how to translate books and TV shows to this.
No, because all I want to do is talk about the, like, tell you this plot line of the book.
Right.
And discuss my
Review
feelings
it,
on it.
and
yeah.
we're not book talk. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to avoid that.
And even so, I feel like we'd almost, like you said, just be regurgitating what other people have said, especially with, like, the Sarah J. Maas books.
Right. Or I'd just be gushing about
Yes.
books I love and
Yes.
authors I love, and then they'd hear the episode and be super creeped out. Sorry, Kevin Hearn.
She's
By the
sorry.
way, Plague of Giants, or the Seven Kennings trilogy, is top of my list. Right next to Lord of the Rings for an epic trilogy.
Dang.
It's good.
Oh, has the show, the podcast, us talking, people talking to you, encouraged you to take up hobbies, drop hobbies, do something?
I think it has really allowed me to feed into the hobbies I have.
I can also say I influenced you to start reading How to Survive Camping. I know you didn't. I don't think you finished it.
No, it got too intense.
But okay, yeah.
I mean, I could probably read it like in the middle of the day when it's sunny out.
It should be one of your, like, few chapters at a time kind of books.
Yeah. I almost stopped with the first story about the horses. And the book I'm on now, I think, ends with the story of the horses, because I'm pretty sure the book is called, like, Horses Eat People or something.
Yeah.
And I'm just not so sure I can do it. So
Anyway.
something you kind of pointed out that we're doing kind of opposite is your topics tend to be arm's length from you.
Yes.
You're doing a lot of research about conspiracy theories and folklore and places and things and people. And mine are all like, you guys are going to know everything that I'm interested in. But only the things that I'm interested in. We're going to learn about plants and bugs and plants and bugs. Real estate. And then just whatever happens to be making me happy that week. Sorry, everybody that's not interested in my brain.
I started watching Lucifer.
Did you?
Finally. And will be watching Bridgerton. But that is something that I started doing because of the show, was watching Lucifer. I kind of knew that was something I would enjoy, but really got pushed into it from your recommendation.
Do you think he is the most gorgeous man alive?
I just love to listen to him talk. Just talk to me, Lucifer. I'm sorry, Pedro. Oh, that is the other thing, is that we have discovered that I am engaged to
Pedro Pascal. Yeah.
It's my other hubby.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he doesn't mind.
I don't think he would.
No.
He seems very nice.
He does. He is. Let me see if I have any other questions. Is there anything in particular that you might remember?
No.
Not at all. Not even a little. That you really liked that we did, or that made you laugh, or when you hear it. Mine is the episode we were recording when we were talking about the panda from Mulan. I literally had to cut out like 7 minutes of us just laughing while we watched that video.
That one was good. I really I still think about the Denver airport episode all the time. I thought about the Denver airport today.
Oh,
anytime one of my friends is traveling, I'm like, I wonder if they're going through the Denver airport.
I do too. I agree. I would love to even just like fly through the Denver airport and be there for an hour.
Yeah.
Like if I had a layover there,
fly
I'd be thrilled.
into Denver and then leave a couple hours later to go home. Is that a thing?
Right.
Can I get a round trip ticket that just goes to the airport and back?
There and back. I'm sure we could manage this.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me while I check Southwest.
They did have a sale going on recently.
I have a few things written down in my notebook that are just dumb things we have done and said during episodes. Our very first episode, I threatened I don't know the right way to say that. I basically just threatened our listeners that wherever they want dopamine, I will put it there.
We'll put it there for you.
Wherever you need it, we'll put it there, is what I said directly. I'm not sorry, but the offer is less open than you might think.
We have decided there are only certain places we're going to put the dopamine.
Places that will put the dopamine. All doped up is one of our little things.
Get high with us. Helpers high, of course.
Yes, obviously. That is another one. Snape and Aragog are plants.
Oh, yes.
So we were real gung-ho about them. And then, unfortunately, Aragog died in an unfortunate kitty cat accident where she ripped him out of the planter.
Numerous times.
Yes. And so there is a new Aragog thriving in a glass container downstairs with a pothos because you didn't have enough containers to take the pothos out.
And the pothos
is so happy. I'm going to hang it so that the cat can't eat it. And we'll see what happens. But we will try to get some pictures and stuff up of them.
We do struggle with the follow-up. We have
really
a lot of things that we say we're going to do or remember to update people, and then we just never do.
So
it's probably because we do record multiple episodes at once.
Yes.
So by the time I leave here, we've talked for 5 hours about a lot of different things.
And sometimes I take note of like, we've got to tag Brandon Ferris this week. And I will remember, or I will look at it after the episode has already gone out and I didn't tag Brandon Ferris.
Yes. Or especially with you doing the editing, sometimes I don't know what was cut and what was left in.
Right.
And until I listen to it. And then I forget what I had said in there anyway.
And sometimes I hate what I've had to cut out because it's great content, but it didn't fit. It was too long. Yes. We talked too much and there was too much time, whatever. We did learn in episode 6, I think it was, that you love science.
I do love science. I'm a science.
You're a science. And that I have a witch's peak.
Way different than a widow's peak, you guys.
Kills me when I happen to hear that episode and you say it and then we laugh and then I say, tell me what you really think. And I don't know why, but that makes me laugh really hard. And then John White and the People. It was going to be like a band. That was the one who went to John White and the People.
Was that Roanoke?
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
I couldn't think of Roanoke.
I don't know how I did.
The Brophy's blanket stealing village. And Question the Narrative. Those happened in the same episode, which is like premium content. We talked about Jackie Chan being in his 80s. We're still really sorry, Jackie. Poor guy.
Yep.
And then my story about hitting on the man at the Kids Bop concert. 10 million fireflies run or they'll eat your eyes.
I do remember that is in my calendar that I am going to sign up for a lottery to win tickets to park my car in Tennessee to watch lightning bugs light up in synchrony.
I was very excited during the Firefly episode because I talked about giant squids. Okay, the other thing that I've noticed is that occasionally I say the wrong word and I don't even notice. I think I might constantly be having a stroke.
It's just every few minutes I just spew in it.
I have said
words.
I was trying to say backslash and I said backsplash. Probably because that's been on my brain for months now because of my kitchen. And then there was another one.
Folklore.
Yeah, that one we caught and laughed and never let go.
Still use.
And won't.
Every week.
I can't remember it off the top of my head. I will sometime and then I'll shout it out like you. My daughter put your son into a cult during one of our episodes. A glitter cult.
There are worse things.
Right? I have literally no notes about Better Than Embalming, so that was probably a horrible episode.
What episode was that?
17. Denver Airport. Not that. It wasn't that. Lucifer. If you can, I'm sure you can hear my papers turning. I'm not sorry. D&D After Dark. That was going to be
Still impressed that we've only done one D&D topic.
And it was literally D&D.
Yeah.
Literally, the history. So that was my notes so far. Our episode 29 that went out last week was literally one of our most unhinged episodes ever.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody for listening to our podcast so far.
Yeah, we're really enjoying this. I am honestly enjoying, number one, getting to hang out with Jessica.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to say once a week, but really it's like once a month now. Because,
you know, we
like,
tried. We made it for like 3 weeks.
We did.
Hanging out every single week.
All the time. But honestly, I did use this as a way to just be able to excuse my hyper-focusing.
Yep.
So I appreciate you all being on this ride where I learn about raising monarch butterflies and studying trees and my yard.
And I just like to entertain people.
It's really, I think we balance each other pretty well. I hope other people think we balance pretty well.
One of the cool things that I've heard from people is that, and this is almost most people who've listened or that have talked to me about it, that well, first of all, people who don't know us well can't decipher our voices, the differences.
Which I think is hilarious.
I know, it's so weird to me because I feel like we sound so different. But apparently, I mean, basic white girl, I guess.
That's true.
But that they feel like they're just hanging out with us. And that they feel like they would be able to hang out with us even if they don't know us very well. And I think that's so cool.
That's my favorite compliment. When I think Leanne was the first one that said that she felt like we were just hanging out with her in her kitchen when she was listening to it, is pretty much what I imagined this podcast to be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we're changing anybody's lives here, except, you know, encouraging people to watch Lucifer, which could be life-changing.
Or buy the camping books.
Yeah. Or move to New Zealand. So we could change lives.
Raise butterflies? We could change the world. Legit.
Are changing the world.
That's true.
A little bit more dopamine wherever you need it.
Wherever. And getting high.
Yeah.
Helper's high. Beth said that's her favorite episode.
Oh, yay. That's one of my favorite episodes, too, actually.
My favorite? Oh, boy. I don't think I can pick a favorite. I really liked the first episode. The Titanic conspiracy is one of my most favorites.
In the Bermuda Triangle?
I really like the Bermuda Triangle.
That was a good. I liked 90% of your topics, too.
Oh,
like, well, I can't think of any off the top of my head that I was like, okay.
Shut up.
But that's stuff I never would have known.
Right.
And I knew vaguely, but would never have the time to dig into and learn all that.
And I have used some of the really random stuff that we have talked about and learned in conversations with people.
Same.
Which is so exciting when I get to pull something like that out.
Yeah. I haven't done it yet because I did just have a first-time home buyer. I've considered just sending them the episode of the first-time home buyer one so that they can listen to it and then hopefully stay forever.
I don't talk about anything creepy in that episode, do I?
I have no idea.
Listen to this, but not if you're alone at night.
Right. Listen to this during the day and this one at night.
Well, I also was going to bring up books that we talked about, but I can't because we're literally almost out of time.
Right.
But I like this.
Yeah. One thing I would like to see more of is I do wish we were getting more input from people.
Yes, we would love that because we want to know what you guys want to hear and what you want to listen to us talk about.
I'm just going to keep talking about random stuff, you guys. I've got brain chemicals and Ted Lasso coming up. I could talk about...
That's such a weird one.
Only because you haven't seen Ted Lasso. I could just do a whole episode about the seven
ones
Kennings.
I've doubted you on the most have been the most interesting. So I mean, I'm willing to sit here and listen. I've got disappearances and I want to do that weird Japanese island with all the baby dolls hanging in it.
What?
And I'd like to do the the natural wonders that, like, the 9 wonders of the world, or of the ancient world, I think they were, and talk about what happened. I thought about talking about Pompeii.
Oh yeah.
I think I can talk about Pompeii. It's a very long time ago. I know it's super tragic, but I've toyed with the idea of doing 9/11 survivor stories.
Oh.
But I don't know if I can hold it together.
You can't. You can't.
Rude.
Have you
right,
read any
but
books or watched any shows
I don't
that
read books.
that have I don't even like books
What are
that
you talking to?
talk about 9/11, like not like a book of survivor stories, but they have that kind of in the storyline, and you bawled your eyes out, didn't you? Yeah. You're not ready. I mean, same. But you're definitely not
Knowing
ready.
you're right and believing you are 2 different things.
She's gonna try someday, and she's just gonna sob till like snot's running down her face.
Hopefully we'll record that one. Video record it.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe it'll be New Year, New Me, and I'll stop saying that we're gonna film. Because Ryan's wildly offended by it every time I say it. Yeah, we're gonna film today. No, you're not.
You will not be on camera.
I don't know why it bothers him. Just terminology.
I'm going to make sure to say it that way every time now.
Perfect. All right. Well, I hope that you guys have enjoyed our recap.
Yeah.
I enjoyed our recap.
Right?
It was fun, and I would once again echo Bre and say I would love to hear what you guys want more of, and even what you guys didn't like over last year. Please tell us.
Yeah, tell us what you don't like. If you have no time and you just want to send a quick Facebook message that is just like a line of a topic, you could just send like flamingos. And I will research flamingo. I won't even research them.
She doesn't even research it.
She'll just talk for hours about flamingos.
I mean, literally, home construction.
Yeah.
We'll do what.
And we're going into a brand new year. We've got a whole new 52 weeks of episodes coming up. And
what would you guys want to hear on our year?
Yeah.
I'd love to know that.
We'll get to have an anniversary episode in 2024.
We're so special.
We are special.
All right.
We're going to go to Comic-Con in 2020. Even if we're not vendors in Comic-Con, which we're hoping to be vendors, we will still be at Comic-Con.
We could
I'm sure we could
Facebook
offer
Live some of it.
Yeah. And we can probably offer to help with like setup and get some
so
perks
what
that
we're
way.
really crossing our fingers for is that there will be enough space for us to be a vendor, and it won't be atrociously expensive.
And we won't be like shoved in a back corner somewhere.
Yeah. If we get shoved in the back corner, we're putting up really tall balloons to draw people
And
over.
honestly, we're loud enough that
that's absolutely the truth. We're going to do roll for snack if we get to be a part of it, where you get to roll a D8 probably, and whatever you land on is the kind of snack that you'll get.
we'll have
Dice
prizes
and cards
stickers.
and stickers, and we'll dress like nerds.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really hard.
Which is important.
But we're really hoping, crossing our fingers, Pete.
We know you're listening. We hope you're listening.
You might have quit.
It's possible.
But yeah, we would love to be there. Hopefully we will, and we will get to see you guys there. That would be like a highlight of the year for me.
We want to do live episodes this year.
Yes.
We want to do at least one drinking episode this year.
Sorry.
Because Jessica's hilarious when she's drinking. Travel episodes. Yes. We have so much good that we could do with this.
We got plans, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So let us know what you're looking forward to, what you want, what you don't want.
What I should never talk about again. Maybe you never want me to talk about spiders again.
It's going to be like, please don't talk about each other ever again.
Maybe you really want me to tackle snakes. Maybe it's time to make snakes cute. Maybe it's time to change the narrative on snakes. Jessica is not excited. I'm going to do the whole episode in parcel tongue.
Okay, but that would be super impressive. But you just like make noises because I don't think I could sit here and listen to you make that noise for 20 minutes.
I can't do the tongue flick, sorry.
You better be.
I'm going to practice that when I can master the snake tongue flick. Which sounds very inappropriate. Then I will do an episode about snakes.
I hope you never do.
Same.
Whenever Zach sees you practicing, I'm going to pay him $1 to flick you in the tongue. Sake.
Quit it.
I hate that.
He'll get like a spray bottle. Stop it.
It'll be vinegar too, so that it sticks on your face, so you don't want to lick it.
And burns, probably. Probably you don't want vinegar in your eyeballs.
Maybe you should do a topic about it. Okay. Anyway.
Right.
Let us know. We love you. I probably
bye.
just cut most of that out. But we are Dungeons and Dopamine Podcast.
And you can listen to us anywhere you stream podcasts and on YouTube.
You can support us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/dungeonsdopamine.
And you can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit. I swear, we're there.
You can reach out to us on any of those socials. So, this is where we're telling you where you can reach out to us and talk to us about
Please reach
stuff.
out to us.
You can talk to us on any of those social medias, or if that's not comfortable for you to be in the public eye, or you feel like you need to curse us out or something, you can email us at dungeonsdopamine@yahoo.com.
Dungeons and Dopamine is edited and published by Argyle Pigeon Productions.
Thank you.
And that's it. That's the recap for the year.
Yay!
Yay!
Bye!
Bye!